Hello, adventurers! My name is Chance, welcome to my spellbook, and thank you so much for taking a look at the 31st episode of our background series. Today, ladies, gentlemen, casters, and players of all ages, we're going over my favorite background in the entire game as of yet. Today we're going to be talking about the Izzet Engineer, which is found in the Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica. If you're new to this series and can't already tell that this is a top tier background, please check out the full playlist either by clicking the little eye icon up top or waiting until the end of the video to click on the little end card there. That being said, I'll tell you anyways because I'm like that, but most of the backgrounds found in the Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica are like really good, to a point where a lot of DMs have issue with them. This one in particular, if you're a DM and you're listening, you have, even if you're like the most loosey-goosey DM in the world, every single person I know of, and everyone who's played a game with me as a character, will be 100% okay with you rejecting this background, just banning it outright. If you think the Aarakocra is bad, man, you ain't seen nothing yet. In the right hands, this background is absolutely nuts. Now, you might just think I'm overhyping it. I'm not, by the way. I'll get into exactly what's going on in a little bit here. That being said, let's check out its description. Armed with an inventive intellect and a love of magical technology and an uniquely unquenchable energy, you are an enthusiastic participant in the research work of the Izzet League. Though you're likely to begin your career as a mere attendant, you can aspire to become a skilled mage or alchemist. Now, the Izzet Guild as a whole is really familiar with just blowing things up and being a general headache in Ravnica, however their research is top-notch. They also get an extended spell list. And there's a couple noteworthy ones here, but I'll go over them all for you right now. Under cantrips, you gain access to Produce Flame and Shocking Grasp. As first level spells, you gain Chaos Bolt, Create or Destroy Water, and Unseen Servant. Under second level, you'll gain Heat Metal and Rope Trick. Under third level, you'll gain Coal Lightning, Elemental Weapon, and Glyph of Warding. Fourth level, you'll gain Conjure Minor Elementals, Divination, Oluk's Resilient Sphere. And under 5th level, you'll gain animate objects and conjure elemental. So, a couple noteworthy ones on here. First and foremost, level 1 Chaos Bolt. Quite arguably it's really one of the only sorcerer unique spells, but it's really great potential, and its scalability is really nice in addition to its damage output. We did a video on that early on. Check it out under the first level spell playlists. Moving on to second level, Heat Metal and Rope Trick are both absolutely fantastic spells. Everyone always mentions Heat Metal being amazing because Zbashu's Cooking Book strategy is really great. However, my Rope Trick strategy is even better, and I'll talk about that a little bit later on. At third level, Call Lightning, arguably one of the best DPS spells in the game. Elemental Weapon is great. Glyph of Warding is absolutely broken with a certain class. And fourth level, Conjure Minor Elemental is great, and the Resilient Sphere is also pretty incredible. Fifth level, Animate Objects and Conjure Elemental. Most of these additional spell lists, they only add one 5th level spell. Now you get 2, and both of them are, bar none, amazing. The most broken thing about this particular background is when a Warlock takes it. Warlocks, if you're not super familiar, get all their spell slots back on a short rest. Which is interesting, because Rope Trick lasts for a short rest. So the meta, and this is something that only I've done as far as I know, I'm sure there are some people online who've done it as well, but every time I do this, DMs always dig through the book and try and tell me why I can't. But Rope Trick lasts for an hour, which is a short rest. you gain all of your spell slots back on a short rest. So what you do is you leave one spell slot open, you burn through all the other ones at your own leisure, and then when things get dicey to any degree, you cast Rope Trick and sneak off. There's a certain exploit you can use with Rope Trick as well, where you cut the rope super short and you just treat it more like a key. That's kind of the way this is meant to be used. It basically lets you slip away without inherently triggering an attack of opportunity. Really good stuff. In addition, Call Lightning is just a disgusting spell, if I'm being completely honest. Its damage potential, at least in relation to the amount of risk you accept as a caster, is top tier. Top tier spell. Out of all the third level spells, Call Lightning has some of the more kind of cheesy mechanics. Basically provides you with a super huge range. The lightning falls from the sky, so it's not traceable back to the caster, and you can just be chilling out doing whatever while essentially destroying your enemies. Glyph of Warding in the hands of a warlock is also a particularly messy spell, seeing as how its duration is until dispelled, and once again, you get all your spell slots back on a short rest, so yeah. Long story short, this extended spell list in the hands of the warlock in particular is messy as hell. You can also flavor the spells different to include sparks, stuff like that, but just by raw, this is one messy extended spell list. And that's not all they get. Let's move on to the mechanics here. Under skill proficiencies, you gain Arcana and Investigation, which are both great. Tool proficiencies, one type of artisan's tools. I typically go with alchemist supplies. Fits the theme and they're also really good. And under languages, you can choose one of Draconic, Goblin, or Vedalken. Vedalken, there we go. The Vedalkens are kind of like a unique thing to Ravnica, so I wouldn't worry too much about them. Draconic or Goblin, pick whichever one you prefer. I like Goblin personally. Fits with the whole Izzet League mentality a little bit better. And I find Goblin in general to be a more useful language in most campaigns. But that's just me. Your mileage may vary. Under equipment, you gain the Izzet Insignia, one set of artisan's tools, the remains of a failed experiment, a hammer, a block and tackle, set of common clothes, and a pouch containing 5 GP. My favorite thing to do, I always play Warforge because I'm kind of like that. I really like them, and you don't have to worry about all that much when you're a Warforge. I have my Warforges built in a fashion where they're kind of a human soul trapped in a mechanical body, and the failed experiment they carry around is their original heart. Very interesting stuff. Now let's move on to their feature. This one is called Urban Infrastructure, and it is one of my favorite features out of any background, and I'll talk about why in a little bit. You have a basic knowledge of the structure of buildings, including the stuff behind walls. You can also find blueprints of a specific building in order to learn the details of its construction. Such blueprints might provide knowledge of entry points, structural weaknesses, or secret spaces. Your access to such information isn't unlimited. If obtaining or using the information gets you in trouble with the law, the guild can't shield you from the repercussions. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Now, I know a lot of you might be a little bit curious as to why I like it so much, seeing as how it doesn't really provide any mechanical benefits to the party, and it's lore-based, and it doesn't really do anything in the way of funds. What it does do is give you the ability to absolutely cheese the heck out of encounters. I've done such things as removing structural support beams. Yeah, that's right. Can't fight the BBEG if he's buried under a pile of rubble. This is especially useful with such spells as Glyph of Warding, which, surprise, if you don't get it already, you get it because you're a madman, because the Izzet engineer just gets it because reasons, and you just, take a couple moments, cast an explosive ruin on the pillar, and have the trigger be something like when you clap your hands 3 times, or what have you. It's so messy. So messy. This one in particular, I think, is a huge oversight by Wizards of the Coast. So cheesy. So cheesy. And then naturally, things like hidden tunnels or pathways, you're likely going to be able to figure them out. How I usually flavor this is, once again, I play Warforged almost exclusively. I have like my eyes flicker and I can see the blueprints and schematics as they're kind of uploaded to me. Very interesting stuff. However you want to do it, do so at your own leisure. I do get the feeling certain DMs are going to find ways around this, although it elevates the level of gameplay to a point of almost absurdity. That being said, let me know how you would deal with it, if you agree or disagree with me down beneath, of course. And let's get to some suggested characteristics here. Under personality trait, life is an experiment, and I can't wait to see what happens. Under ideal, discovery. Every experiment has the potential to reveal more secrets of the multiverse, and this really pertains to anyone. And under bond, I have dedicated my life to find a solution to a scientific problem and flaw. I get bored easily, and if nothing is happening, I'll make something happen. Really great stuff. There's a lot of really good flavorful characteristics for all of the Ravnican backgrounds. That being said, for this particular character, I kind of went with a mad scientist, more or less. Trying to figure out how to get his old body back. In particular, that's usually how I play my characters. That being said, feel free to go nuts. There's tons of influential scientists throughout history. Some good, some not so much. Nikola Tesla, Frankenstein, take your pick. Now let's get to my personal thoughts on it. If you can't tell, I think the Izzet engineer is way too good. Way too good. Like, you could literally just hand that extended, like, forget about the feature, just provide the extended spell list, and that alongside with the mechanics make it, in my opinion, better than any other background we've covered so far, without a doubt. And then you mix in the feature on top of that, man, is that good. Naturally, in order to gain the full benefit from this background, you have to be a caster to gain access to this extended spell list. But man, if you're a warlock, as soon as you gain access to those second level spells, you're pretty much untouchable. I actually play a game with Juice for Master of the Game where I do this, and it kind of drives him a little bit nuts because the way Rope Trick works and the fact that you can shelter, I think, up to 9 people in there if memory serves, it's so cheesy. It's so cheesy. It basically makes combat irrelevant, more or less. And then you combine that with Call Lightning, and I don't know, man. It is super cheesy. And then, of course, you add in the urban infrastructure feat, and then you combo it with Glyph of Warding. Once again, the Warlock gains the most benefit out of this combo, as far as I can tell. And if you're a Warforged on top of that, you already don't really need to sleep. So you can just go to these buildings, scout them out in advance, assuming your stealth is decent, and just cast Glyph of Warding while everyone else is sleeping, and then wake up with them, and just be like, no guys, don't even worry about it. I got this covered. Then you clap your hands 3 times, and the whole base of operations for the evil syndicate you're trying to take down just straight up collapses in front of them. That's pretty messed up, man. That's pretty damn messed up. And in case you're curious about, like, maybe reinforcing the barriers or maybe reinforcing the structural integrity of these places, Glyph of Warding, at its base, like at its lowest spell slot being 3rd level, deals 5d8 of whatever damage you really want. So, I mean, that better be one tough piece of material, you know? And it's a 20-foot radius sphere. I mean, I don't know. It's just messed up, man. It's just messed up. I guess the biggest downside would be that it consumes 200 GP worth of materials. But if you're ballin' and if you made the mistake of giving your party too much wealth, you're going to really feel the consequences when it comes to this background. Really just, yeah. In any case, I don't know, maybe I'm looking into it too much. Maybe I've had too many lenient DMs in the past. Let me know what you think of the Izzet Engineer down beneath in the comments section. Be sure to mention any thoughts, questions, comments, or concerns you have regarding it. And yeah, man, let me know if you have any cool stories as well. And if you'd like to gain access to a free one-shot, please do check out the Guild Hall and just use code WELCOME upon checkout, and there you go. That being said, hope you all have a great day, and as always, happy adventuring.